Breaking news here on the Cowboys Report. Rashaan Evans has been cut by the Dallas Cowboys. I'd say a rather surprising move on that front. The move to make room for Matt Waletzko, the backup offensive lineman, who had decision time here to be activated from injured reserve or miss the remainder of the season. Cowboys add another offensive lineman to the depth chart, while removing the only other non-starting linebacker from their own. I am a bit surprised by this move. We'll break it down here on today's show because that's what we do. When breaking news happens, we cover it for you. The original plan was to put out our Cowboys-Lions preview right around this time slot. Well, we'll push that back to later in the evening because this is a fairly significant move we have to break down. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on news, and for our preview plus injury news on that front later on this evening. So Evans gets cut after just 9 games with the Dallas Cowboys. And Evans, despite all of your issues stopping the run, despite all of your issues on defense and your linebacking play, Damone Clark had not been playing well. Evans had played a meager 15 snaps in the past 4 games for the Dallas Cowboys. And frankly, he was not playing good in those games. He had 72 snaps on defense in total. 28 of those came against the New York Giants. Back when it was decision time on if he could be the active roster guy or not, they called him up for it, then made him a full-time player. After that, didn't play that much following 15 snaps against the Commanders in a blowout game. Team didn't trust him. The Cowboys are insanely thin at linebacker, and that is what makes this move a bit of a surprise. And why I was surprised. I was like, oh, that was unexpected. The rationale here, clearly Dan Quinn didn't like what he saw from Evans. Very clear that that's what led to this move, plus the roster spot being added. We can look at the PFF grades. It's just a data point. It certainly is not the end-all, be-all, or anything, whatever, from that perspective. He hadn't done much. The PFF grades, again, it's when your overall run defense is bad, hey, his grades are going to be bad too, because as much as they try to differentiate, there is some correlation between overall bad play, whatever. 47.2, better with the Falcons in 2022, but this play and these grades startlingly similar to his time in Tennessee. Yeah, he was a tackle machine in 2022. It's because he couldn't cover. He was getting beat a lot in coverage, getting tackles downfield. The average depth of target numbers or tackle numbers have never been good for Rashaan Evans, meaning those tackles not coming near the line of scrimmage. They've been worse than Damone Clark's, frankly. Now, the issue here is you got no linebacker depth. It's Damone Clark, it's Marquise Bell, and neither guy has looked that great, in particular against the run. Bell looks still good in coverage. Clark isn't making enough plays despite being a 100-tackle man himself this season. We'll spend a lot more time on this one. But what is your one-word reaction to the release of Rashaan Evans? Sound off for me at the pinned comment of today's video. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. I am surprised by this. I think that's a good one-word answer because, as we mentioned, there's no depth. Malik Jefferson on your practice squad is out of game day call-ups himself. So maybe you make some other offensive line move. Do you invent an injury for Awesome Richard since you have let's go back and then call up Jefferson to the roster? Possible, actually. But it was very clear, and it's been clear for weeks now, that the Cowboys did not trust Rashaan Evans. And he was never that great. He was always you got to find somebody out there. He was the best available off-ball linebacker since the time. It seemed like Miles Jack was retired, and then he unretired. A very weird saga there. I was at the point where you maybe give him a shot because Damone Clark was not playing well. I will happily acknowledge that. But I never thought Evans was I was told he was better than Leighton Vander Esch. No, he wasn't. He's never been better. Even in the lowest of lows for LV, he's always been better than Rashaan Evans, even though I thought Evans would be better coming out. That's an L for me in the draft history there. I think the idea of Rashaan Evans fixing your run defense was very much overhyped. Never been one simple solution, right? Always been a little bit more complicated, convoluted than that because it is a layered discussion. I know there's some upsetness. I get it. This is one where if you trust Dan Quinn in the defense and the regime, you kind of trust him on Evans here. The fact that he could not play, maybe the Cowboys are wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, but they clearly did not think he was good enough to play. They were not playing him on defense right now. He was bad against the Bills too, by the way, which everyone on defense except Tank Lawrence was. More on this and the Matt Waletzko angle as well. But first, today's show is made possible by Rocket Money. Who here forgot to cancel a subscription? I mean, we've all done it, right? Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills, all in one place. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with the press of a button. There's no more long hold times, annoying emails, calls with customer service. Rocket Money does all the work for you. Over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped his customers an average of $720 a year, with $1 billion in total savings so far. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. That's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. We appreciate Rocket Money sponsoring us here at the Cowboys Report. I think your immediate solution is twofold. And you're not really replacing that many snaps with Rashaan Evans. Like, he didn't play at all against the Miami Dolphins. I think the likely outcome here is you'd play more safeties still. / you'd use some of the fun Micah stuff we'll get to here in a moment. You have Malik Hooker, who's your deep safety. Donovan Wilson, Jaron Kearse, they spend so much time in the box that they might as well be pseudo linebackers, and maybe you embrace Jaron Kearse even more as a full-time linebacker and not put him deep in coverage at all and avoid that as much as possible, and you give Wanye Thomas some more run. I actually like him in coverage. I'm not sure he's like all your linebackers and safeties. I'm not sure he's physical enough to hold up against the run. I do think Wanye Thomas has been one of your better players this year. I thought Donovan Wilson was really good against the run against the Miami Dolphins. Maybe you continue to lean into that role. And the tweak we saw against the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins run a lot of shotgun, spread out formations, so I'm not sure it's going to be as one-to-one against the Detroit Lions as you can do this against teams like maybe the Niners and maybe the Philadelphia Eagles too, come playoff time, etc., is this personnel. I don't know what we're going to call this Micah Parsons role. They use this a couple different times, more so early on in the game where you have the linebackers playing more off ball. Like Damone Clark's got, 8-ish yards of depth here. You've got the safeties rolled down into more of a normal linebacker position. Go to the 2nd and 10 play here that came earlier in the game. You got Damone Clark kind of 6 yards off the ball. Jaron Kearse is deep in the box. And Micah Parsons is there as like not really a linebacker, not really a stand-up, in the A-gap. Like, I don't know what we'll call it. I think I'm going to lean with the linebacker position, where he's not really playing off-ball linebacker. The depth is wrong, and he's leaning forward, but he's not an edge either. It's almost a bare front, but not really a bare front. I thought it was mostly a unique package. They did it 6 times. I think that's kind of more of the things you'll see with Micah in terms of him not being a full-time off-ball linebacker, but utilizing him in a hybrid role, which I think is what we all agreed with. But that whole conversation last week just got off the rails and was not a fun one because it became a political one where no one listens to their side and they just scream and yell at each other. What is your confidence level in this defense right now? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Sound off for me in the comments section. Now, the Cowboys, with this move, make room for Matt Waletzko on the 53-man roster. He had been placed on IR at the beginning of the season. Didn't know if he was going to come back or not, but this is a significant move for Dallas because it does provide added depth along the offensive line. And Waletzko is somebody that I am intrigued by. I liked him coming out of North Dakota State. We just haven't had a chance to see much of him. I think he's more of a right tackle option, would be my suspicion for Waletzko. We have not seen very much of him in his time in the NFL because he's just been so banged up in a very short time frame. But it gives them another option at the offensive tackle spot, which maybe seems significant given the fact that, it's not been great play from Chuma Edoga. I don't think Awesome Richards is ready. I think the Cowboys feel similarly. But you now go 10 deep on the offensive line. Let's go this year in the preseason. 0 sacks allowed, 2 hits, 5 hurries. Not the greatest PFF run grade, but maybe compared to Edoga, that's not the worst outcome either. It's funny because Waletzko was a left tackle only at college, but he's played right tackle for Dallas in the preseason. Good size, 6'7", and a half basically. He's a huge person. 312, trying to add some more strength to him there. Really great athlete. But he's got a history of shoulder injuries, which have been a problem for him both in college and in the NFL. I don't think this says anything about Tyron Smith. I don't think. I think they just want extra offensive line depth. They were plotting this before Tyron's back reared its ugly head again. The Cowboys also aren't honest about injuries, so they can be saying Tyron's going to play. We'll see. We'll know more. Thursday into Friday. From that perspective, but we will keep an eye on it. Again, folks, if you have not already, please subscribe at youtube.com/@CowboysTV.